Okay, how you guys doing, internet? My name is Bob, and I'm going to do a review on this Rossi RS22. It's made by Companhia Brasileira de Cartuchos in Sao Paulo, Brazil, and it's heavily based off of the Marlin blowback series rifles like the 795, the Marlin 60, Glenfield 70, and so on. Let me just go through the specifications for you guys real quick. It's blowback operated, has an 18-inch long barrel that's a 1 in 16 twist. It's pretty thick construction and has a recessed crown in the muzzle. Monte Carlo style stock, raised cheek piece, and it's got some pretty deep cut checkering. Albeit kind of slick, but it is decent. And overall, the whole gun is 36¼ inches, and it weighs 4.1 pounds with a 10-round magazine in it. And the sights on it are fiber optic front and rear. It's a red light pipe up front with a hooded front post, and green light pipes in the back. Fully adjustable rear sight. It does have magazine actuated last shot hold open, and you can also hold the bolt open by retracting the bolt and pushing it inward. And then it also has like a Ruger 1022 or like say an AK style mag release. And I just wanted to tell you guys about it because this is one of the cheapest guns that you can buy brand new. I got this one for right at $120 shipped to my FFL, and it's a pretty nice gun for what it is. I think that everybody should have a 22 rifle. This one is very similar to a Marlin 795. Actually, like most of the features of this gun are pretty similar, but it does have some things that I like a little better, such as like the rear sight. On the Marlin 795, it's just a traditional dovetail, like buckhorn style rear with a regular front post. And the Marlin is a little bit different. So hold on, I'll bring my Marlin up here. This is my Marlin 795, and it's a little bit slimmer in the fore end, a little wider in the pistol grip, and the length of pull on the Marlin is actually a little bit longer. I have a long right arm because of a shoulder injury when I was younger, and I find the Rossi to be just a hair short. Like if you put one of those slip-on butt pads on this, I think it would be perfect. But let's just do a little comparison real quick. The Marlin has molded in sling swivels, where they are your traditional steel sling swivels on the Rossi, and like the Marlin has cut checkering. Both of them are pretty nice guns. This is probably the cheapest rifle you can buy brand new, which is why I wanted to do a review on it. Let's just talk about a few differences. The Marlin, I'm sure my camera won't pick it up, I'll have to roll in a picture. The Marlin has a finger style ejector, which has given me some issues before, where the ejector in the Rossi is a solid flat piece of steel, and I had in 400 rounds 0 malfunctions out of this Rossi. It just chugged along perfectly fine. Just for a little comparison, here is the Rossi RS22 mag, and here is the nickel chrome plated Marlin mag. They're both fairly easy to load. You can see the follower sticks up a little bit more on the Rossi, and that's actually how the last shot hold open is actuated on that, where the last shot hold open on the Marlin, once it hits the back of the follower, this operating rod comes up, and that's your bolt hold open close, where on the Rossi it only works by pulling out on the operating rod, the charging handle, and when you want to hold the bolt open, you retract it and push inward, and that'll hold it open, as well as the follower. But when the last round is spent and the charging handle comes back, it only holds on the follower, where as soon as you release the magazine, the charging handle and bolt go forward. Now, one thing that I do want to bring up that I think makes the Rossi super cool is that you have 25 round magazines produced from the factory that almost have like a AR-15 profile to them. They're actually pretty nice. It's a 10 round magazine inset into this magazine body, and then it has some load assist tabs that, truth be told, are junk. They don't really help you when you first get these. They are very hard to load. I think when I first got them, I couldn't get more than 15 rounds in them. And what I found works perfect is if you pull down on this, loading tab, once you load it until you can't load anymore, take like a flat screwdriver or the nail file on your Swiss Army knife and stick it in between the springs and pull down on the spring. That'll allow the follower to go further down in. And after I started doing that, I've had no issues with loading the 25 round magazines. I think they're right around 30, 35 bucks. And I believe they fit almost all of the Rossi rifles. So their RB bolt action rifle, their semi-auto, of course, and then any Mossberg rifle. This rifle has been made in 3 different variations, like sold under 3 different names. So I know that it's been sold as the Magtech 7022, the Mossberg 702 Plinkster, and the Rossi RS22, where the Mossberg 702 Plinkster had a stock a lot more similar to the Marlin 795 polymer stock, where it was a little slimmer. The cheek piece is not quite as high as this one. And the Magtechs that I have seen have all been in wood stocks. So, but they're all identical. Albeit I don't know about sights or any of that, but functionally they're all identical. Now, let me just show you real quick for the Marlin, one reason why I think the Rossi has a leg up, at least from the start, is that the Marlin has fairly reliable Pro Mag 25 rounders for it. Now, they're a little bit chunkier, but what I really like about the Mossberg 702 Rossi RS22 25 round magazine is that it has steel feed lips, where this one is polymer. So down the line, these feed lips can't get wore down, and then this mag is just junk. You'll just have to throw it out. I don't really think that it would be a great long-term mag, but it is what it is. Accuracy-wise, I found this gun to be super accurate. I took it out to 25 yards, just resting against a tree, and I was getting some pretty great 3-shot groups out of this gun. I'll roll in some pictures or video if I find it. But here are the targets. This one is CCI Blazer, and these are 1-inch squares as well as 1-inch circle targets. And you can see this thing doing 1-inch to sub 1-inch groups at 25 yards. And this was iron sights rested on a tree, which that's pretty great to me. The Blazer was pretty consistent, and I really like that. It's just a solid nose 22 bullet. But I also shot some Ely practice out of it, and I don't know, 2 of my groups were not that great. I mean, I'm not Hickok 45 or nothing fancy or anything, but that's 2 shots into 1, that's 2 shots into 1, that's 3/4 of an inch maybe, that's 1/2 inch out of 3 shots. I also got some footage of putting a whole 25 round magazine into one of these, and it stayed around 2 inches, which is great. I mean, That's awesome for a rifle you get for 115, 120 bucks. Heck, you buy one of these used, it might be $75.
That was just at 10 yards. I'm going to take you up there to look at
My
the
Marlin for me is like a total laser beam. I don't know if my camera will be able to pick this up, but the Marlin has a super thick barrel.
It's all 25 rounds.
I don't know if you'll be able to see that. The Rossi is only slightly thinner, and it functions phenomenally. Actually, from this point, you might be able to see it. My scope might be in the way. The charging handle on the Marlin is a little bit smaller. I like it more on the Rossi. And for what it is, guys, this is just a sweet gun, especially when you put the 25 round magazine, assuming you live in a free state, in it. That's just a sweet profile. It reminds me of like a Mini 14, I don't know, like an SKS with a duckbill magazine. But what I really like about this is on your Marlin, when you have a magazine inserted, I'll just put the 10 round in it, is that you got to lift up and backwards on the magazine release to retract the magazine. Where on the Rossi, even with this 25 round mag in it, where it covers the mag release, you push on this button right here, and it might be a little weird because I'm working around my tripod, but you push on this button right here and then pull the mag out. And I think that'd be super cool for like a tactical 22, or at least just doing fast magazine changes. This is a little bit slick. I actually prefer the button on the back of the 25 round magazine because it does have those serrations in the back here. It's a little bit easier to grasp. If you're wondering what you get with this rifle, you'll get an instruction manual, which UPS delivered mine to my FFL and beat up the box a little bit, but it's got some decent pictures in it, like color pictures of how to change the elevation and windage on the sight, how to operate your safety. Let me see if I can get to it. How the bolt hold open works and all of that. And it's got some color pictures of disassembly. It's different than the Marlin. So on your Marlin, oh, you also get a gun lock and your usual safety literature, but that's pretty much every gun. So on your Marlin, you'll take out these two Allen head screws, and then your trigger guard and the trigger all come off in one unit. And then you'll lift out your whole receiver and barrel assembly, and it has one pin in the back. And after that, you can remove it's pretty much all of the guts of this except for the bolt, the recoil spring, and guide rod. On the Rossi, however, you have these two screws here, and you push this whole thing out of the stock. So you'll have your trigger guard, your whole receiver, all of the components in there, and your barrel. It all comes off as one. It's fairly tight back here, and the barrel is free floated, but this is where it'll stay tight. So you'll push that out, and then it has two takedown pins in it, and those release the whole fire control unit, everything except for the bolt, the recoil spring, and guide rod, and the ejector, which is on the other side of the bolt. And I recommend disassembling it and cleaning it as soon as you get it, because I did that with this and it had thick yellow grease in it that I'm sure might have caused the stoppage. 400 rounds through this, only one cleaning when I first got the gun. I did not have any stoppages. I didn't have any failures for the last round bolt hold open to work. It just chugged away. Now that yellow grease from the factory, it could gunk it up a little bit. I don't know. 22s can be fairly dirty. I don't know if you can see a little bit of that gun oil right there with gunpowder in it, or hear it. But this thing is pretty dirty after 400 rounds. But again, no malfunctions. I'm fairly impressed. And I actually really like that solid flat steel ejector in this, because in my Marlin it has given me problems where it was pushing down on the top of the round in the magazine, and it was causing failures to feed. And I just did a little bit of playing around with bending it certain ways and got it to work again fine. But I think that this 22 will be one of your favorite guns. And I think everybody should own a 22 rifle. I mean, you can shoot it in more places because 22s are not that loud. Maybe you have some woods behind your house or a public range or something. And they're fairly inexpensive. This rifle overall, it's fairly short. I mean, it's only about an inch shorter than the Marlin, which I like the length profile. But with the length of pull being slightly shorter than the Marlin, I think this could be a good kid's gun, what have you. I don't know. I think that everybody should just own a 22. This is a good beginner gun. Maybe you get a kid that's 7-8 pounds. It's only 4 pounds. So, like, it's not that cumbersome to give to a smaller shooter or a kid. Or even if you want to sling it up and carry it through the woods all day and maybe shoot some squirrels or an animal that's, you know, infesting an area. But that's pretty much it, guys. I'm really impressed with it. I think that it would be well served for you. And if you guys like this video, I might produce some more on cheap guns. I really like the fact that for heck $60-$70 less than the Marlin, you're actually getting a pretty good package, because the trigger on the Marlin is polymer, where it's steel on the Rossi. The Rossi has Phillips takedown screws, where the Marlin has Allen head screws, a little bit larger of a charging handle. I mean, if you look at the lines of this, they are nearly identical. I almost think that Rossi probably has to pay Marlin patent rights on that or something, because it's very, very similar. The one thing I will say is a little bit better on the Marlin than the Rossi is the trigger has a good deal of slack. I think this has magazine disconnect safety. The trigger has, see that? A ton of slack in it, where the Marlin doesn't have nearly as much. I'm not sure if the Marlin has mag disconnect safety. It has some, but it feels a lot tighter, where this one just it feels just like total deadweight slack. Now, it does have a decent reset on it, and I don't have a trigger pull gauge to tell you, but the Marlin trigger is a little better to me. But it's pretty short. Gets a little gritty right there, and then just a nice clean break. And then the reset is right there. So if you were shooting this gun to reset, I think that would be awesome. And then just again, a little gritty take up, and then a nice clean break. And on the Marlin, I don't know if this has a mag disconnect. It has that little bit of take up, but then just safety's on. Oh no, it has a mag disconnect, huh? Well, let me put a magazine in it real quick. The Marlin just has a nice, it's right there. And if you're a real trigger snob, I would recommend the Marlin. Me, I can pretty much adapt to the trigger in the Rossi. One thing that I do like about the Marlin a little bit better is the forend is a little slimmer, where it's a little thicker on the Rossi. And I do like the checkering more on the Marlin. You lock good into this deep checkering, but it is not like your 6 Hour or your M&P, that texture that you can see on it. It's not that aggressive. I mean, it's not like sandpaper. Neither is the Marlin, though. The Marlin's a pretty slick checkering. It's not like cut checkering on your granddad's wood rifle. But yeah, if you guys like it, I would highly recommend purchasing this. It's just a phenomenal value for what it is. And 400 rounds isn't like a torture test per se, but I think it's a winner, guys. I will be changing the stock on this, maybe adding a red dot sight. I think I'm going to do like a tactical kind of build on this. So if you guys are interested in that, I'll be uploading that at some point in time whenever I finish it. If you have any questions or concerns, just, you know, shoot me a message in comments or, you know, whatever. But have a great day, and see you next time.